And the big game kicks off tonight. There will be an undeniable Chattahoochee Valley presence. Los Angeles Rams general manager Les Snead grew up in Eufaula. WRBL News 3's Chuck Williams looks back at how Snead's life in football began.
It all started in a neighbor's backyard. Last week, I got a bunch of Eufaula kids, grown men now, to sit down and talk about their buddy, Kool-Aid.
Yeah, he had that red stain on his lip. Didn't be there all day. So somebody called him Kool-Aid and it just kind of stuck.
When you reach the big time, and make no mistake, LA Rams general manager Les Snead is at the top of his profession, there's always someone who knows where you came from and what your nickname was. Paul Mixon, Randall Wilder, Archie Grubb, Clint Sparks, and Cody Sparks could not be prouder of the cotton-top kid that ran the streets of Eufaula with them.
He has never been, let this go to his head or that he's above anybody. He's the most down-to-earth guy, and I think that's a great quality, and I think it also has helped him be successful.
Football was at the center of those early days in the mid-1980s. The first kids of the ESPN generation lived and breathed football, and the Backyard Football League was born.
Yeah, I can't imagine, I guess you'd say, being where I'm at, loving sports, passionate about football, without whatever people like Randall engineered there. That doesn't happen. I mean, that's a good Netflix
Yeah.
It could easily be a documentary. The stadium was Alice Jane Sims' backyard on Randolph Street, less than 50 yards from the main drag where thousands of cars pass on the way to the Gulf of Mexico.
When I moved into these apartments that were right behind Alice Jane's house, I was in kindergarten. I would see these boys out there playing that were older than me, and I wanted to be a part of that. So that's how Coach Grubb came about right there.
Man, we had the locker room, and then remember I had that tree house that he had built in the backyard that kind of oversaw the Sims backyard, and we'd be practicing, and sometimes I'd look up there and Archie would be up there like Bear Bryant, like overseeing our practice.
This wasn't just backyard two-hand touch pickup football. They played in full pads. They got those pads when their beloved Eufaula High Tigers threw away some old equipment.
When I try to tell people about the Backyard League, they can't comprehend it. You had to live it, but I mean, if I said anything, I mean, I don't know how it got done, but we built locker rooms. We had full pads, and they were high school helmets from schools from the Wiregrass. Don't know how we got them. Sure, it was legal. Sure, it was above water. All of that.
Archie Grubb, now a Columbus attorney, says the statute of limitations is run.
One neighbor's doghouse that was dismantled on a Sunday morning when the neighbor was at church to provide some of the materials for the locker room.
Yeah. Whose doghouse?
It was Miss Barron here. I don't think she had the dog anymore, so it was, in our view, it's unnecessary.
They even had homecoming.
We had my sister Paige was the homecoming queen. We had a halftime, and somebody escorted her out. We gave her some flowers.
And she also played. She
Played the first half, and she went back in the house, and then we finished the second half.
And they wanted to be just like their Friday night heroes.
The Eufaula High used to play right up here back then, and they wore those tearaway jerseys.
I remember.
And every Friday we would all be at those games, and when the game was over, we were on the field, and they'd start throwing those jerseys out. And we made sure we got them, and if you got a Lee Hollingsworth jersey, you struck gold.
Yeah,
23, and then that Saturday, everybody had their tearaway jersey on. The first play of the game, it got shredded, and we were crying. You tore my Lee Hollingsworth jersey.
They were also watching the college and NFL games closely, trying to imitate those in the big leagues.
Frank and Paul and Les were on the team, and Frank would run for a touchdown, and he'd do that little Eric Dickerson like that, and he'd be yelling Eric Dickerson, and Les would be running across the field, Eric Dickerson!
Yeah.
Even then, the boys could tell Les was looking at the game in a way that exceeded his years. As these men, now in their 40s and 50s, walked through Alice Jane's old backyard last week, they realized that time has been marching on since the days of their youth.
How long ago this was. I mean, those magnolia trees weren't even here. Look how big they are now.
The old pecan tree that was one of the goal lines is long gone.
That was one of our goal lines. There was a pecan tree.
But something special happened in this town on this street many, many years ago. And people can see a little piece of that when they watch the NFL title game tonight.
I would say that Les cut his teeth in the backyard league and hanging around us. Wouldn't y'all say that?
Oh, yeah.
Everything that his love for the game, his love for watching the key block.
I think that's carried Les. Something that he did learn in the backyard league is how to be competitive, because that's what we were. I mean, we were competitive. I mean, nobody gave an inch.
These guys will be watching the competitive team that Les has assembled in Los Angeles. And there will be a lot of pride, a lot of Eufaula pride, knowing they were there when the first chapter of Les Snead's football story was written.
And Les is a great connecting piece for all of us. His success is our success.
This was so much fun. As a Eufaula kid myself, I watched these guys talk, and they literally became kids again. And I did too a little bit in the reporting. Carissa, back to you.
Thanks so much, Chuck, for that report. And behind the